Hello folks, my name is Mark and this is Why I Hate the World. How you guys doing? So, a lot of things happened this past weekend. One of them at the Trump protests, slash Women's March on Washington was that a guy named Richard Spencer got punched in the face. So for those of you who don't know who this guy is, he's one of the big leaders on the alt-right, and he's got really regressive neo-Nazi views. He's the guy that in that deplorables ball thing was standing up saying hail victory, hail Trump, and giving a Nazi salute, which hail victory translates as Sig Heil. So he's basically giving a Sig Heil to when Trump got elected. And so there's a video going around about how he got like belted in the face pretty hard. And I'm not so sure how I feel about that. I mean, because at the one hand, it's wrong to assault people, okay? And, especially for their political beliefs, right? So right off the bat, it's like, okay, well, the guy who hit him should be arrested, and that's wrong, and blah, 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 right? But, on the other hand, if there's anyone on Earth who deserves to get punched in the face, it's this fucking guy, because Richard Spencer's a fucking asshole. I mean, he's a true believer, a real piece of shit. And not only does this guy believe in white supremacism, he's actively working to like institute those beliefs. He's a lobbyist for the alt-right is what this dude is. And don't make a mistake, this guy would take away your rights in a moment if he had the ability to, right? So the truth is, like, yeah, okay, so he hasn't engaged in any actual violence, himself, right? But his followers sure have. I mean, we've seen over the last year, at all the Trump rallies and things where nonviolent protesters were being assaulted. They're getting like, beaten up, punched in the face. There was one story that comes to mind of I think it was like a 70-year-old some odd lady who had oxygen, an oxygen tank, got like punched in the face and dragged out. Another guy who was actually a black guy who was a Trump supporter went up and tried to give Trump a letter, and then Trump goes, get him out of here, and he got dragged out by security and punched and beaten, right? Shit like that happened all the time during the last year, all throughout the election cycle, right? We even had Trump himself telling people that just punch him in the face and he'll pay the legal bills, shit like that. I mean, we have him on video saying that, right? And not only that, but then after Trump gets elected, there's this spike in fucking hate crimes, the majority of which were perpetrated by right-wingers, okay? So that's one thing that you're going to hear is that, because there's this meme going around on the alt-right, on the Donald on Reddit and a bunch of other things, that all these hate crimes were hoaxes, right? Which is bullshit, because they weren't. I mean, they cite, there were one or two cases of them actually being hoaxes. Like there was one where a guy burned down a church and then he wrote Trump on the side. And it turns out that he did it for insurance reasons. And then he wrote the word Trump to kind of make it look like a hate crime to cover his tracks, right? And they take examples of those, and then they say, well, then all of the other hate crimes are hoaxes, right? It's not true at all. There's a massive spike in hate crime, something like 900 cases in November, right? And, of people, like, most of them were from people on the right, the Trump supporters, like beating up black people, beating up, Mexicans, Latinos, right? A lot of them against, Muslims and such, right? And that's the thing. It's like, the difference is, right, that the right-wingers, the conservatives, the Trump supporters, they don't give a shit when it's their side that instigates the violence, because they just, like I said, they just cry fake news, right? And they just don't even admit to themselves that it's happening, okay? Because that's another, now they're taking these, every time something happens that doesn't line up with their worldview, that embarrasses Trump, that makes anyone on the right look bad, they just cry fake news. Like, oh, it's all fake, it's fake news. Bullshit. It's not fake news, okay? And, and what it adds up to is, their movement now, it's like a cult. They make up their own reality. They choose to believe their own facts. That was the thing that Sean Spencer said the other day, Kellyanne Conway, I get these people mixed up. That was the thing she said the other day, where like, Sean Spencer was just saying alternative facts. It's like, well, no, there's no such fucking thing as alternative facts, right? Alternative fact is a lie. Okay, there's only one fact. There's only one truth, and that's the thing, is that they use the left's predilection to believe things that can only be proven. You know what I mean? Like, they use that against us, right? People on the left, I don't know about you, but I like the things I believe to be true, and if something is proved to not be true, I don't believe it. The right wing, they don't have that handicap. All right, they just believe what they want to believe, because it's all about fucking emotion to those people. It's not about logic, it's not about truth, it's not about objective reality, right? It's not about what's right or wrong. Okay, they don't care about that. They don't care about facts. They make up their own facts, right? They don't care about what's, morally right, even according to their own morals, right? They don't give a shit about that. They don't care about, who gets hurt, as long as it's not them, all right? They don't give a shit about if something's legal. It's the only thing they care about is themselves, okay? And that's what this guy, fucking Richard Spencer, he doesn't give a shit. And, if it was, somebody, one of his followers punching some other dude there in that thing, we wouldn't be hearing about it, okay? It wouldn't even be a story, okay? Because they wouldn't have even, they wouldn't have gone on Reddit and gone viral, all right? Because that happens all the fucking time. In fact, it's not that hard to search and find examples of Trump supporters, of alt-right people punching first at that, at that fucking protest. In fact, I'm going to put a few in the thing so that you guys can look and see video of Trump supporters getting, swinging first, okay? Because so don't tell me that it's the left that's violent, or the left is always instigating. No, all right. It's, it's fucking, this is what happens when people protest. They go out, lots of angry people get together in one big place. Shit happens, okay? And one guy will go out and he'll instigate a fight. There's lots of emotion, lots of tension, and things get out of hand. And that's what happens at protests, So in short, I don't feel bad about it. Sort of getting back to this guy, getting punched in the face, this Nazi asshole. It's wrong. I wouldn't do it, right? I wouldn't, if I saw who did it, I'd turn the guy into the cops, okay? I don't encourage people to swing first, but the fact that it happened doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me at all. No, fuck that guy, all right? Too fucking bad for him, he took the risk. He went out into a big crowd of people that he knew there was potential for violence, and then he just did it anyway. It's like, well, that's kind of like me going into a black neighborhood, like in that Die Hard movie with a big sign saying F niggers or whatever. That's like me doing that and expecting, not to get punched in the face. It's like, he fucking is instigating. All right, when you go up and you insult people to their faces like that, you're instigating the fight. All right, so it's wrong that he got punched in the face, but you know what? I don't feel too bad about that at all. Anyway, adios, folks.